Welcome to My Empower Project with your host, Erin Rowe. We will discuss nutrition, fitness, becoming your own boss, and just becoming better every day. I invite you to join My Empower Project as we embark, embrace, encompass, and enlighten.
Ladies, today I'm talking to you about your personal fertility tracker, Daysy, Daysy. It is an intelligent tracker that lets you know your very own menstrual cycle. It is considered an FABM, fertility awareness-based method, and it's a different way of determining fertile and infertile phases of the female cycle. Daysy calculates your fertile window. It lets you know by taking your waking temperature, tracking this data, and calculating, and I invite you to learn more today. Welcome to My Empower Project, where I share new alternative options for women to assist in their new lifestyle towards achieving optimal health. We have so much to talk about with today's guest, Holly Grigg-Spall. Hi, Holly. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Great. How did you become a brand ambassador for Daysy?
Well, that's an interesting story. I wrote a book called Sweetening the Pill, which was about my journey off the birth control pill and discovering fertility awareness. And as a result of that, I kind of became connected to lots of people in that field. And one of the things that I was really interested in was how to make fertility awareness more accessible to more women. So at the time, it was really known for paper charting, having to do your own graphs, take your temperature with a basal body thermometer, do your own analysis of the data, and basically either study up on your own or find someone to teach you. And it was a lot of effort and work and involvement, and it's something that I had been experience with firsthand. And so I was really curious, what ways that could be simplified and made more accessible and to women who have busy, normal busy lives, not a ton of time to dedicate to it. And I discovered that Daysy had launched in the US. It launched in, I think, 2014. And they were just starting out their production in the US, and they had an office and headquarters opened up here. And they asked me if I wanted to try the device, and I said, yeah. So I tried it out, and I thought, wow, this is essentially what I had been wondering, how would we get to this point? And I knew other people wanted fertility awareness to be a more obvious choice to more women. And it basically simplifies it down. So you take your temperature still with the sensor on Daysy. Then the Daysy tracks, monitors, and analyzes that data for you and gives you your fertility status for the day as a red or a green light. So red days are the days you are fertile, which is a shorter amount of time per cycle, and green days is the rest of the cycle, which are the days you're not fertile. It's backed by a database and a unique algorithm. So basically it takes all that information and does it for you, and you can feel confident in what it's telling you.
That's great. I just want to start with how this fertility tracker method is different from others out there.
Yeah, so Daysy comes from a company called Electronics. That's the parent company, and it's been around for 36 years. It originated in Germany, and essentially they pioneered the concept of a fertility tracker. Then tracker uses Daysy, and the parent device to Daysy, which was the Lady Comp, uses something called the fertility tracker method, which is basically that sensor with the algorithm. So the sensor is a highly calibrated sensor that takes your basal or resting body temperature and is able to see or monitor when your temperature slightly rises after ovulation, which is what it's trying to pick up to confirm that you've ovulated. The algorithm is a completely unique algorithm, and it essentially allows both to tell you ahead of time during those days, on those red days, as I mentioned. And that's the fertility tracker method in a nutshell. So that was developed for original device, the Ladycon, and then the Daysy is the one that was launched in the US in 2014, has its own app, Daysy View, and that, so your data is Bluetooth synced to the app, so you can see everything there. And yeah, so that's how it's different. It's really a standalone device. It's not just an app. All the calculations are done on the device itself, and that makes it very different to anything else that's out there.
Definitely. I've heard from friends who were trying to conceive that they would have to get up right in the morning and go into the restroom in addition to using a thermometer. So this product, Daysy, is so much more efficient. I use it myself. You explained a little bit about Daysy's data, but how long does it take for the device to get familiar with someone's body?
Yeah, so Daysy has a cautious 3-cycle learning phase when it's gathering data, getting to know your own hormone patterns and cycle patterns. During that time, Daysy gives you very few green lights because it's not confident enough yet to say for certain that you have certain non-fertile days. So during that time, you would either get the red light or the yellow light, which is the third light, which is the learning or cycle fluctuation reading light. So Daysy has to gather that information. And that is one way you can trust these devices, the Daysy and the Lady Comp, because they both do that. Again, no other fertility tracking app or method does that. And it allows you to know that the device is actually using your data and learning about your cycle. And it continues to do that beyond the learning phase. So the more data that you give it, the more it learns, the more accurate predictions become in terms of predicting ovulation day, predicting when your period is going to arrive. And so the more data you give it, the more you get back from it, essentially.
Yeah, I noticed for myself, hopefully it's not too much information, but I see it can go from red right to green and skip yellow. Does that mean it's just more sure of my data?
Yes, that will tend to mean that your cycle is staying within the parameters it's understood from your previous cycles. It doesn't think that there's going to be any big shift in when you ovulate. And so therefore the red the red always starts earlier than your actual fertile window. Now, your fertile window is 6 days for every woman, 5 days for the sperm survival in the female body. And then you as a woman are actually only fertile for the survival of the egg, which is 24 hours, which can be 1 day or over 2 days. So that's your fertile window. Daysy would give you more than 6 red days. So it's going to open your fertile red window earlier than that, and then it's going to wait for when you ovulate and the temperature rise is monitored and tracked to close that fertile window.
And for the women out there who are unfamiliar with this, I could see in my phone when ovulation's expected, when everything's expected, so I can kind of just stay more on track on the app. And also every morning when you wake up, you can also see the light. So I find it very helpful. Actually, how reliable is this form of birth control?
So the study that was done on the Lady Comp, which is the one that we have available right now, showed it to be over 99% accurate. Daysy uses the same algorithm and it's the same technology. It's just a different device. It has the app instead of with the Lady Comp. Everything is on the screen of the Lady Comp itself. We're actually doing a study right now that looks at the accuracy of providing green days with the Daysy itself, and that should be available later this year.
Okay, so is Lady Comp available in the UK? Am I understanding it right?
No, Lady Comp is available everywhere. Lady Comp is Daisy's mum, essentially. It's been available for about 36 years. Yeah.
Okay, because I thought I ordered the Daysy 2.0. I guess Lady Comp is like the 1.0, or is
there... no.
No, okay.
Lady Comp is Daisy's mum. It was the original device that has the screen, and that this is pre-smartphone, pre-apps. This was developed. It's had facelifts over time, so it's modernized. The Daysy is the daughter. So the Daysy is the device that you have, and instead of seeing it on the device itself, you go on the app, as you just said. The Daysy 2.0 came out last year. The Daysy 2.0 was an upgrade on the Daysy, and that was all to do with the feedback they'd gotten from customers on terms of design, functionality. The Bluetooth capability was added, a rechargeable battery, much like your smartphone, was added, and then also it won the Red Dot Design Award, actually, which is a very prestigious design award. So what you have is basically the latest model in the Valley Electronics fertility tracker family.
Oh, wonderful. Can you explain to me the concept of the menstrual cycle and a fifth vital sign?
Yeah, so when we talk about vital signs, we're talking about signs that you track in order to monitor your health, essentially. And so when you say a fifth vital sign, the menstrual cycle is another way of monitoring your health. The American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists were the people who said that the menstrual cycle should be seen as the fifth vital sign for women. It's a feedback system. Your menstrual cycle reacts to lots of things like your diet, changes to your workout regime, problems with your thyroid, stress, hormonal imbalances, lots of different things, food insensitivities, food allergies, many things can show up in your menstrual cycle, whether that makes them shorter or longer, or you skip ovulation. There are lots of different ways it can show up. So monitoring your menstrual cycle is basically like having a test at home that you can take. It's not a blood test, but it's like watching your cycle. You can see how it works over time and if things change. You can also see if you're treating something naturally with supplements or food or diet changes, that you can see if that's having a good effect, because you can track your cycle and see if perhaps it's becoming more regular, or you're ovulating more regularly, or your period is the ideal length. So all of these things are like a feedback loop that your body is kind of showing what's going on in the rest of your health. And that's where that concept comes from.
Oh, that's very interesting. On the app, I can see also a chart, the ups and downs between all the months. So that's another way to view. And you can also share the app with your partner so they can see your color of the day. And I'm personally using this method to prevent conception, but many women also use it for family planning. How does the importance of a supportive partner come into play?
Well, most of the women that we've surveyed who use Daysy in the US have highly supportive partners that they discuss Daysy with. Perhaps they discuss prior to purchasing. They let them know they're light every day. And many of them say it's increased the communication and intimacy in their relationship. So in the US, this is very positive. Most women who are using Daysy, the fertility tracker method, are seeing it enhance their relationships, and their partner is very involved. And we see that anecdotally. We have like a 6,000 women strong Facebook group, and many of the women share how their partner, read through all the information, is totally engaged, asks what their light is, helps them remember to take their temperature. Yeah, it's really wonderful tool in that way.
I agree with that. I think it does improve the communication. I know when I wake up, my boyfriend's like, is it green? Is it red?
Mm-hmm.
What promoted the creation of your book that you mentioned earlier, Sweetening the Pill?
So that was my experience on the pill. I took the birth control pill for 10 years and I decided to come off when I was 27. And I basically wanted to document how that experience went for me, and also my education in fertility awareness, understanding the menstrual cycle, what we might call body literacy. So I sort of charted my development from being on the pill and not really knowing anything about my cycles, managing them with a medication, not experiencing real periods, to coming off and having a much more engaged relationship with my body and involvement.
Where can we find your book?
So my book is available on all book retailers. You can support indie bookstores, or you can get it from Amazon or Barnes & Noble. It's in ebook and paperback form now.
I love that you wanted to share your story and write your own story. I also see on your Instagram that you mention a lot of documentaries and other books by authors that you think are also helpful. Where can we find you online?
Yeah, so actually one of my book is inspiration for a documentary that's coming out later this year called The Business of Birth Control. And I'm making that with Ricky Lake. And so you can find that online at thebusinessofbirthcontrol.com. And I'm on Instagram under my name. I'm on Twitter under my name. You can find Daysy on Instagram, which is where we share like some really great information, especially at this time, about like stress and the menstrual cycle, self-care, why you might have a late period, all kinds of different things. And we share that at Daysy Fertility Tracker on Instagram. And as I said, we also have a private Facebook group, Daysy Fertility Tracker Sisterhood and Support, which if you are curious about hearing about Daysy from women who've used Daysy for 5 years, have used Daysy for a long time for different reasons, maybe to postpone pregnancy or to get pregnant or to just learn more about their cycles, then you can join that group and hear direct from those women.
So there's so many places that you can reach out, and I love sharing non-hormonal methods. So I'm so glad we got to connect today, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. You can find every episode, including the written versions to read, on erinrowe.com. Be sure to leave a review because I love hearing your opinions on the topics I shared. Are they new? Are they helpful for you? Tap that subscribe button so you don't miss the future interviews and enlightenment to come. This episode was brought to you by me, and only me, because I love sharing new ideas with you. Take action to become better. Have a fabulous day.